It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary.
Hello, word nerds. Welcome to the dictionary, hosted by me, Spencer. Wow, we got country, didn't we? This is episode F161, and we are finishing the follow words in this episode. Come here, follow me. Let's get into these words. Follow me, watch me walk away. What? No, okay. The first word in this episode is the first form of follow-up, 2 words with a hyphen. This is a noun from 1916. Number 1A, the act or an instance of following up. We'll talk more about that in a bit. Number 1B, something that follows up. Something that follows up, what is it? Follow up a tree? It's a follow-up. Number 2, maintenance of contact with or re-examination of a person, especially following treatment. And an example of the person, what type of person are we talking about? We are talking about a patient. You maybe got to go get a follow-up test, a follow-up exam after you had some level of treatment with your doctor, your surgeon, whoever it was. They're like, you know what? We just want to see how things are going. We think you need a follow-up test, exam, visit, whatever it is. I'm going to, probably in just like around this time when this episode is airing, I will be getting a follow-up exam on my eyeballs because I had an eye test. I went to see a specialist. There's the word. On my eyes, something funky is going on, and so they said come back in like 4 months, and so we can do a follow-up test. And I said, okay, we shall follow up on my eyeballs and see how they're going. And I hope that they are the same or better, because if they're worse, then that is not good, and I don't want them to be worse. Follow up. Number 3. This is a news story presenting new information on a story published earlier. Well, we want to know what happened. What happened to the guy who fell into the well? Did they get him out? Did he make friends with the fishes down there? Has he started a new family? What is going on? Are they having tea parties down there, him and the fishes, well water parties? We need a follow-up story. All right, let's make a sound effect. It's going to be Now we have the second form of follow-up. 2 words with a hyphen again, adjective from 1912. Number 1, of, relating to, or being something that follows up. Wow, these first definitions, they're really, they got it. They figured it out. The example is follow-up action by the police. And that is a quote from Frank Faulkner, or Faulkner. Frank Faulkner was talking about follow-up action by the police. The police, they needed some more information, so they went back to check out the situation. They're like, did we miss anything? Did we brush for fingerprints or fingertips? We got to do some follow-up action. Number 2, done, conducted, or administered in the course of following up persons. Are you following up on the persons? And so this is the stuff that happened while you, the stuff that you learned that happened while you were following up on persons. What's the example say? Maybe that'll help. Follow-up care for discharged hospital patients. Yes, the follow-up persons, when you're following up on the persons, those are the patients. And what do you got to do? We got to do some follow-up care. Follow-up care. I hope my follow-up care does not include invasive things, drugs, or more tests. I want them to be like, okay, you're good. You don't even need follow-up care. Now we have the next word, which is follow up again. There's no hyphen, so this is technically not the third form. It is a verb from 1767, and we are starting with transitive. Number 1, to follow with something similar, related, or supplementary. Supplementary? That's probably how I should say it. Supplementary. As in, following up his convictions with action. And that is a quote from G.P. Merrill. Following up his convictions with actions. He said, I feel so strongly about these things. I feel so strongly that animals need to be treated well that I'm going to follow up those feelings with some actions. I'm going to take action, and I'm going to protest and boycott and change my diet and tell other people that they should change their diet if that is right for them, because animals deserve to be treated well and not murdered. Number 2, to maintain contact with so as to monitor the effects of earlier activities or treatment. And again, who are you maintaining contact with? It's a person. I would assume probably a patient, right? You are following up. This is the action of following up. The doctor said, I got to follow up on you. There was something funny in your test, so I'm calling you to set up an appointment. You need to come back in right away. Number 3, to pursue in an effort to take further action, as in, the police are following up leads. Oh, that person, they are a lead because they were looking so suspicious when they were looking all shifty-eyed when we were interviewing them. Oh, yeah, I think we need to follow up with that person and say, what is wrong with your eyes? Are you Spencer and you had to go get some tests done? Or are you maybe not as innocent as you said you were? Looking shifty. Intransitive for follow-up is to take appropriate action, as in follow up on complaints. How is that different from transitive? I'm not so sure. Follow up on complaints. People put some complaints in the complaint box. They put some chewing gum in there too. But there were a couple of complaints, and so we gotta go and look up. We gotta see if this is valid, if we can fix this complaint. Maybe the showers don't have enough water pressure, so we gotta follow up on that and hire a plumber. A plumber. Next is folly. Folly. Noun from the 13th century. Number 1. Lack of good sense or normal prudence and foresight. So this is the noun. So you have this folly if you do not have good sense, or you have abnormal prudence. Maybe your prudence has gotten a little abnormal, and no foresight. Folly. Interesting. I don't know if I've heard this word used this way, but maybe I've heard it used in this way. Number 2A. Criminally or tragically foolish actions or conduct. Wow, they really went there. Those actions, the actions or the conduct, were tragically foolish. Wow, that is the most foolish, I think. And then, or maybe criminally foolish. Maybe you did something so silly that the cops had to take you away. They had to follow up on the lead because they were like, wow, how did he do that? Folly. 2B, this is obsolete. The synonyms are evil and wickedness. But especially lewd behavior. This is behavior that's, you just don't do it. If somebody said that was lewd, you're like, I'm so sorry. That was a folly. That was my folly. Sorry about that. I shall never do that again. I did not realize that was lewd behavior, although you should probably know what is lewd behavior. Number 3, a foolish act or idea. Maybe this podcast is a folly. No, of course it's not a folly. It never was a folly. This is not a tragically or criminally foolish thing to do. This is a very smart thing to do, I think. Number 4, an excessively costly or unprofitable undertaking. It's costing you a lot of money to start that new business. Maybe it was a folly. It cost you a lot of money. It's not bringing in any money. Why would you do that thing? Why would you do this podcast that nobody pays attention to and it doesn't make you any money? Well, it's because it's an excuse to be silly and have fun, and I need to do more of that. And also learning. Learning is fun. And also guess sometimes. I sure wish I had time to do more of that. Number 5, an often extravagant, picturesque building erected to suit a fanciful taste. We can see where this is coming from. Extravagant, picturesque building. It's beautiful. It's maybe gaudy and tacky. It's extravagant. But it's a folly because it was just built and done to satisfy somebody's need to show their wealth, maybe? Maybe we can think of some people who are doing things like this. That's why it's a folly. Maybe it was a foolish thing to do. This word is from the Anglo-French folle, which means fool. And so, if somebody is talking to you about the word folly and you are connected to that word in some way, maybe they are saying, this person might be a bit of a fool because they are building tall, crazy buildings and nobody likes them. I shall never build an extravagant, picturesque building. All right, now we're going to go... Next is Folsom, capital Folsom, adjective from 1928. This is a long definition of relating to or characteristic of a prehistoric culture of North America on the east side of the Rocky Mountains that is characterized by flint projectile points having a concave base with side projections and a longitudinal groove on each face. That was a lot of information about rocks. Let's look up a picture of this Folsom. So what is this? It's the adjective. We're talking about these flint projectile points. I don't know. Maybe we can just look up Folsom flint. Is that a possible thing that we can look up? The east side of the Rockies. So Google decided that it should show me directions from Folsom, California to Flint, Michigan when I typed in Folsom Flint. But the Folsom Point, that is what we should be looking up. So this is these are these arrowheads, I guess, that have been like chipped away at by other rocks, and it's got your standard arrowhead shape with the point at the top, and the top of it is sort of flattish, as flat as they can make it, but the edges have these, what did it say? These concave base. Yeah, the bottom part is curved upwards towards the point. That's the concave base. And side projections and a longitudinal groove on each face. I don't know. I guess that groove would be, I guess that's kind of there. And yeah, the edges are sort of pointed. They're chipped away at, so there's like these little chip marks to make the sides a little bit more pointy and sharp. But why is this Folsom? It is a town in New Mexico. And so I guess that's the area where probably the indigenous people were making these. Let's put this link for Folsom Point into the show notes. They are found widely across North America, dated to the period between 11,000 BCE and 10,000 BCE, which would be basically 12,000 to 13,000 years ago. The humans who lived here, because there have been humans living here for a long, long time, they were making these to hunt with. Folsom. Okay, interesting. Didn't know about that. Now, we shall move on to foment. Or you can emphasize the second syllable, foment. This is a verb, a transitive verb from circa 1613. It is to promote the growth or development of. The synonyms are rouse and incite. Ooh, so maybe you're trying to rouse your child out of bed, you're fomenting the child out of bed to get them to go to school. Or maybe you're inciting a riot. Fomenting a riot? Could that possibly be a way to use this word? Promoting the growth or development of. maybe neither one of those. I mean, maybe a riot. Maybe you're promoting the development of a riot. Maybe not so much rousing someone out of bed. But we have an example. Oh, here we go. Foment a rebellion. I suspect. I would not be surprised, let's put it that way, if our American culture just happened to be fomenting a rebellion over the next, I don't know, days, weeks, months, years. Depending on how bad things get, I would not be surprised. We shouldn't have to go through this silly situation. A synonym is the word incite. We already saw incite. Thank you very much for showing it again. Fomenter is a noun. And now let's look at the etymology. What does the etymology say? This is a Middle English word, foment, which means to apply a warm substance to. So maybe this is like in a medical situation. If you're applying a warm substance, like maybe a warm towel, a warm wet towel to something, maybe it's going to help heal, help make it feel better, something. And so you're promoting the growth or development of feeling good. Let's see, what else? From the Latin fomentum, which means, I guess it would be compress, not compress, but maybe a compress, like a cold compress in medical situations. Also from fovere, which means to heat or soothe. Akin to the Lithuanian word degti, which means to burn. Also the Sanskrit dahati, which means it burns. So yes, it definitely seems like heat. Heat is a part of this. Heat will get things going. Inflammation, flames. Okay, we got it. We figured it out. Now, we have the word fomentation. Noun from the 14th century, number 1A. The application of hot, moist substances to the body to ease pain. I mean, right there, it's right there in the letters, in the words. That's what it is, fomentation. Never heard it. It's old. Maybe doctors or shamans, medical people are using this. 1B. The material so applied is the fomentation. Number 2. The act of fomenting, and the synonym is instigation. If the act of fomenting. We gotta go foment the rebellion. I am not necessarily saying that we need to foment the rebellion, but I also can understand why that might need to happen. Okay, moving on to away from that topic. We have fomite. M-I-T-E, that's the rest of the word. Noun from 1803. This is an object that may be contaminated with infectious organisms and serve in their transmission. Ugh. Well, what type of object are we talking about? It could be a dish or an article of clothing. When somebody maybe gets sick, they throw up, they have the stomach flu, possibly they have lice, they have so many possible ways. They had raw meat on this dish. Then that dish, that clothing, whatever it is, would be the fomite. Because it is contaminated possibly with bad stuff that could be spread to other people and things. And so you call it a fomite. I had no idea about this word. Yes, it can serve in their transmission. If you lick the plate that had the raw meat, maybe salmonella from chicken, then you will get the salmonella. Well, let's just say you will. Maybe no mite about it in this fomite thing. You will get it. And which is why you need to be washing things, washing your hands. Be smart. This word, fomite, is a back formation of fomites. I don't know how to or just fomites, which is from the New Latin fomes, which is from the Latin, which means kindling wood. Akin to the Latin fovere, which means to heat, which we saw before. And there's more at the word foment, so maybe the idea is that you want to heat it to kill the things that are on it. wash those clothes in hot water, wash the dish with hot water and soap, and it will kill the stuff that's there, and so it doesn't spread, and everybody is happy when they don't get sick. I'm happy every day that I'm not sick. Now we have fond. F-O-N-D. First form, adjective from the 14th century. Number 1, the synonyms are foolish and silly. Fond is foolish and silly, as in the example, fond pride. Never heard of this. Fond pride. Your pride, you should not feel so proud about that. When you jumped off of a very tall building and didn't hurt yourself, you've got fond pride. You should not be proud, because even though you didn't hurt yourself, you got very lucky. You're just lucky. You are foolish, maybe, and silly. Number 2A, prizing highly, and the synonym is desirous. This is used with the word of, as in the example, fond of praise. Ooh, interesting. So I'm aware I like this praise that you're sending me, because you say, no, this is not a folly podcast. You say, no, this is the best podcast, and that's what I want to hear. I'm very fond of that kind of praise. When you write 4 and 5 star reviews, I am fond of that. Thank you. I prize it highly. I prize every single one of those reviews. I printed them out and put them on my wall. Okay. Now we got 2B, having an affection or liking. This is used with the word of again, as in fond of music. What's that music that you're playing there? I quite like it. It is enjoyable to my ears. I am fond of music, just all music. Largely, I am fond of all music. There are a few things that I'm like, nah, don't really care so much. But in general, I am fond of pretty much all music. I'm fond of you. If you are listening to this or watching this on YouTube, I am very, very fond of you. Now, is there a connection between the first one, foolish or silly, and also liking things? I'm not so sure. Let's go on. Maybe we'll find more information about this word fond. 3A is foolishly tender. The synonym is indulgent, as in a fond mother. Why? How? What? A fond mother is foolishly tender? Why is it foolish to be tender? How? What sort of situation would you be tender in a foolish way? Indulgent. Well, so you are indulging in your child's interests? Or you are maybe too much? Maybe it goes a little too far? Is that when you can be foolishly tender? You're tender so much, you stepped over the line. That's weird. Weird example. Interesting. I don't know. Okay. Well, I guess, we can connect this back to 2A and 2B. The mother likes and loves her child so much. They are fond of their child, so they have become a fond mother. 3B, the synonyms are affectionate and loving. Well, this seems like very similar, but you're not going too far with your lovingness, with your affectionateness. The example is absence makes the heart grow fonder. When you go away from this podcast for a little while, or actually when I go away for a little while, for maybe 2 or 3 months, after the F's, I shall go away for a little while, and you will miss me so much. Your heart will hurt, but you will the love for this show and myself will grow exponentially every day. Your heart will be so big it will be coming out of your ear holes. But then I will come back, probably. Number 4, cherished with great affection. Also, doted on, as in our fondest hopes. We have some hopes. We have some things that we would like to happen, and we like those hopes. We hope that they will happen. Like getting better people in our political situation. Okay, where does this word come from? It comes from the Middle English word fon, which means fool. So, I don't know. That's weird. You like something? You're a fool. It's, the evolution of that word is interesting. But we got more. We have the second form of fond. This is the intransitive verb from 1530. It's obsolete. So just like you, just like me, you might be thinking, how can you fond something or be fonded? It means to lavish affection, and the synonym is dote. So when you're doting on somebody, you're saying, "Oh, here, let me take off your shoes. Let me bring you tea. Let me do all these things. Please sit on the chair. I will drape a blanket over you so you are comfy and cozy. Let me make a fire for you. I am fonding you because I am fond of you." And then people were like, "That's a weird way to use that word. We don't want to use it that way anymore. We're going to use dote." The third form of fond is the noun from 1664. Number one, the synonyms are background and basis. No example, just the background of a thing. What is this thing built on? It's built on a fond? Number two is obsolete. The synonym is fund. Doesn't say like which definition or whatever, so fond, it's probably just a change of like pronunciation. So this one, I don't have a lot of information about it. The etymology says it's from the Latin fundus, which means bottom or piece of property, and there's more at the word bottom. So yeah, maybe it's like what the thing is, how it got funded, what's the basis of the financial situation of something. I don't know. It's fond, but we're not really using it that way so much, I guess. And now I shall go to the last word, and it's a word that makes me go, It's fondant, Fondant, and it's like a, tasty, but a little confused, kind of. Is it tasty? I don't know. This is a noun from 1877. Number one, a soft, creamy preparation of sugar, water, and flavorings that is used as a basis for candies or icings. And we'll say number two, a candy consisting chiefly of fondant. I have probably eaten this at some point. All I really know is that cake makers will make this fondant, which is like an icing, but it's much more thick and pliable and malleable. It's almost like I don't want to say a clay, but like they'll make it and spread it out kind of thinnish, and then they'll drape it over the cake to make it look so smooth and perfect. They were like, well, icing is nice, but it's hard to make it so perfect. So we said, we'll make a thick icing that we can just put on top. And those cake masters are so good at making this fondant. But I do think I've heard people say that they don't either like it or you shouldn't eat it. I don't know. It's got sugar, so yeah, I will eat it. But yeah, it's just a thick, tough icing. This icing is so tough. It was interesting. It said used for a basis for candies or icings. Is that connected to the word fond? The bottom, the basis? I don't know. Let's look at the etymology. It is French, fondant, from fondre, which means to melt, and there's more at the word found. So maybe it's like it just melts on the cake. You got to melt it to make it. I don't know. Something about melting. Fondant. Okay, well, that was the last word, which means I have to pick a word of the episode. And I am going to pick the one that is the best one. Feel free to let me know what you think the word of the episode should have been in your brain. I don't know. Let's just pick fondant, right? Let's just do that one. We'll just do the same thing we do every time. There's fondant on the cake. I'm gonna eat the cake. I'm gonna eat the fondant. The fondant is vanilla. The fondant is chocolate. The fondant is all the flavors. It's a rainbow fondant. All right, that was wonderful. I'm going to tell you quickly about a movie that I watched, which I think would be the one that I just watched last night, again at the David Lynch retrospective. We watched a documentary called I Know Catherine, the Log Lady. There might be a subtitle too, but that's enough of the title. This is a documentary that has been years in the making. We donated to the Kickstarter to get this thing going, as well as hundreds and hundreds of other people. And it tells the story, the life story essentially, of Catherine Coulson, who has a big, important role in the world of Twin Peaks and David Lynch. She played the Log Lady. If you don't know who that is, then you have to watch the show. And but she was also just a fantastic person, and she did theater acting, some other TV acting, I think, but she was also on the other side of the camera as an assistant camera person, and she was very accomplished in that and very good at that, and also very early a woman in that role in those years. What would that be? The 60s, 70s, 80s, maybe not the 60s. I don't know the exact timeline, but definitely the 80s. She was on Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan, and it was so good to learn more about her and how what an amazing person she was. And the filmmakers are hoping to kind of stretch this out and do like a 3-part series, which I think would be great because then you can just get so much more information about her, because they did 65 interviews that were long. Each one was long, and so how do you cut that down to get the whole story? You just don't cut it down as far. That's all you do. Make it long. Anyway, that's going to be the end of this episode. Thank you for checking out this show. Check out the show notes for any other information, how to contact me. We got merchandise. We got Patreon. $1 a month will get you early episodes, and the YouTube and all the other stuff. Voicemail. Send me a voicemail. Until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye.